In a dimly lit room in Phoenix, Arizona, during the winter of 1938, Edgar Cayce lay perfectly still on his leather couch, his breathing deep and rhythmic. The woman sitting across from him clutched a handwritten letter, her hands trembling slightly as she waited for answers that would shatter everything she thought she knew about sleep, dreams, and the mysterious journey her soul took every single night. What Cayce revealed in that transformative session would expose one of the most closely guarded secrets of human consciousness, a hidden reality that unfolds in the darkness while the physical body rests, a spiritual adventure so profound that it would challenge every assumption about what it means to be human. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. The revelation began when Margaret Thornton, a schoolteacher from Denver, arrived at Cayce's residence after months of troubling dreams that felt more real than her waking life. She described vivid experiences of flying through starlit landscapes, visiting places she had never seen in physical form, and encountering departed relatives who seemed more alive and vibrant than anyone she knew in the material world. Most disturbing of all, she claimed to remember detailed conversations and learning experiences that occurred during these nocturnal journeys, knowledge that proved accurate when she researched the topics upon waking. What happened next would become one of the most documented and revolutionary readings in the entire collection of Edgar Cayce's psychic sessions. As Cayce entered his trademark trance state, his normally gentle voice took on an authoritative tone that seemed to emanate from a source far beyond ordinary human consciousness. "This sleeping state," he began, "is not the passive unconsciousness that modern science believes it to be. During the hours when the physical body rests and repairs itself, the soul embarks on conscious journeys through dimensions of reality that exist beyond the limitations of space and time. These nocturnal adventures," Cayce explained with unprecedented detail, serve specific educational and developmental purposes that are crucial for spiritual evolution. While the conscious mind shuts down and the body enters its restorative cycles, the soul consciousness expands beyond physical boundaries to engage in learning experiences, healing work, and communication with other souls that would be impossible within the constraints of waking awareness. The woman's dreams were not random neurological firing or subconscious processing of daily events, but actual memories of real spiritual experiences occurring in higher dimensional realms. This wasn't simply an isolated reading for one troubled individual. Throughout the late 1930s and early 1940s, as America grappled with economic depression and the looming threat of global war, hundreds of people sought Cayce's insights about their mysterious sleep experiences. Factory workers reported dreams of attending vast educational institutions where they learned skills and concepts far beyond their waking education. Mothers described nocturnal journeys where they received guidance about raising their children from wise beings who seemed to possess unlimited knowledge about human development. What emerged from these documented sessions was a comprehensive map of soul activity during sleep that revealed the nighttime hours as the most spiritually active period of human existence. According to Cayce's consistently detailed readings, the soul doesn't simply remain dormant in the physical body during sleep. Instead, it travels through what he described as multiple planes of consciousness, each serving distinct purposes in the ongoing evolution of human awareness. During the initial stages of sleep, Cayce explained in a particularly profound reading from 1939, the soul consciousness begins to separate from its dense physical attachments while maintaining what might be understood as a silver cord connection to the sleeping body. This etheric tether ensures the soul's safe return to physical awareness upon waking, but it also allows for incredible freedom of movement through spiritual dimensions that exist parallel to the material world. The first plane that souls typically visit during sleep, according to Cayce's documented insights, serves as what he termed the earthbound realm. Here, recently departed souls who remain attached to physical existence continue their learning and adjustment to non-physical consciousness. Living souls often visit this dimension during sleep to provide comfort and assistance to those making the transition from physical to spiritual existence, engaging in service work that the conscious mind rarely remembers upon waking. Margaret Thornton's case provided a perfect example of this phenomenon. During her reading, Cayce revealed that her recurring dreams of visiting her deceased grandmother were not wishful thinking or subconscious memory processing, but actual meetings occurring in the earthbound realm, where her grandmother served as a guide for other transitioning souls. Margaret's soul had been participating in this ministry of comfort, using her natural compassion and teaching abilities to help newly departed souls adjust to their expanded state of consciousness. But the earthbound realm represented just the beginning of the soul's nocturnal adventures. In reading after reading, Cayce described higher planes of consciousness that souls visit during deeper stages of sleep, each offering increasingly profound opportunities for spiritual growth and service. The mental plane, as he called it, functioned as a vast cosmic library, where souls could access information and wisdom far beyond anything available in physical existence. Here, sleeping souls attended what Cayce described as universities of consciousness, where advanced spiritual beings served as teachers, offering instruction in subjects ranging from the fundamental laws governing reality to specific guidance for handling life challenges. This explained why people often woke up with sudden insights, creative inspirations, or solutions to problems that had seemed insurmountable the day before. These weren't products of subconscious processing during sleep, but actual learning experiences that occurred while the soul visited higher educational dimensions during the night. The famous inventors, artists, and scientists throughout history who credited their breakthrough discoveries to dreams and sleep inspiration were literally describing memories of instruction received during soul travel to these cosmic institutions of higher learning. Dr. Harold Kellerman, a psychiatrist from Baltimore who consulted Cayce in 1941 about his patients' recurring nightmares, received one of the most detailed explanations ever recorded about how traumatic sleep experiences related to soul travel. Cayce revealed that what appeared to be frightening dreams often represented the soul's attempts to heal psychological wounds by revisiting and transforming traumatic memories in controlled spiritual environments. These healing planes, as Cayce described them, provided safe spaces where souls could process difficult experiences with the assistance of advanced healing entities who specialized in consciousness repair. The implications of this teaching were staggering. It meant that every human being, regardless of their waking spiritual awareness or religious beliefs, participated nightly in a sophisticated system of cosmic education and service. The housewife who thought she was simply sleeping through the night was actually attending advanced courses in human relationships. The factory worker who dismissed his dreams as meaningless brain activity was receiving instruction in skills that would benefit his soul's eternal development. The child who feared the darkness was unconsciously serving as a messenger of hope to souls in spiritual realms far beyond physical existence. Cayce's readings from this period revealed that souls didn't travel to these dimensions randomly or without purpose. Each individual's preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now, back to the story. Nocturnal journeys were carefully orchestrated based on their specific spiritual needs, karmic lessons, and service opportunities. A person struggling with anger during waking hours might spend their sleep time in dimensions where they could observe the destructive effects of uncontrolled emotion and learn techniques for transmuting negative energy into constructive force. Someone facing difficult relationship challenges might visit realms where they could see the eternal spiritual connections underlying temporary physical conflicts. One of the most remarkable cases documented during this period involved Thomas Mitchell, a railroad engineer from St. Louis who consulted Cayce about exhaustion that seemed unrelated to his physical work schedule. Despite getting adequate sleep, Mitchell woke every morning feeling as though he had been laboring through the night. Cayce's reading revealed that Mitchell's soul was engaged in intensive service work during sleep, helping to guide souls through challenging transitions in the spiritual dimensions. His exhaustion wasn't physical fatigue, but the natural result of his soul's compassionate overcommitment to helping others during the nighttime hours. The reading provided Mitchell with techniques for better balancing his nocturnal service work with his need for spiritual rest, introducing concepts that wouldn't be understood by mainstream psychology for decades. Cayce explained that just as the physical body required periods of rest and activity, the soul also needed to balance active service with receptive learning and peaceful restoration. Mitchell learned to set spiritual intentions before sleep, requesting that his guides regulate his nocturnal activities to ensure adequate rest while still allowing for meaningful service. This case illustrated one of the most important aspects of Cayce's teaching about sleep consciousness. The soul's nighttime activities weren't completely beyond conscious influence. Through proper preparation and intention setting before sleep, Individuals could participate more consciously in their spiritual adventures and ensure that their nocturnal experiences served their highest good. Prayer, meditation, and specific affirmations before sleep could influence the nature and purpose of the soul's dimensional travels. But perhaps the most profound revelation in Cayce's sleep teachings concerned the role of dreams in bridging the gap between soul consciousness and waking awareness. Dreams, he explained in multiple readings, served as translation mechanisms that converted the soul's actual experiences in higher dimensions into symbolic language that the conscious mind could process and remember. The strange, seemingly illogical nature of many dreams resulted from the difficulty of translating multidimensional spiritual experiences into linear, physical concepts. A dream about flying, for instance, might be the soul's memory of traveling between dimensional planes. A dream about deceased relatives could represent actual communication that occurred during visits to spiritual realms. Even apparently mundane dreams about everyday activities might contain encoded information about lessons learned or service performed during nocturnal soul travel. The key to understanding dreams lay not in psychological analysis of symbols, but in recognizing them as filtered memories of real spiritual experiences. This understanding transformed how people approached their dream lives. Instead of dismissing dreams as meaningless mental activity, Cayce encouraged people to treat them as spiritual communications deserving careful attention and interpretation. He provided specific techniques for improving dream recall and understanding, including keeping detailed dream journals, asking for guidance in interpreting symbolic content, and setting intentions to remember more of their nocturnal spiritual experiences. The depth and consistency of Cayce's teachings about sleep consciousness became even more remarkable when examined across the full span of his career. From his earliest readings in Kentucky through his final sessions in Virginia Beach, he maintained detailed descriptions of soul travel, dimensional planes, and the educational nature of sleep experiences. These weren't vague mystical platitudes, but precise technical explanations of how consciousness operated beyond physical limitations. In readings spanning more than 4 decades, Cayce consistently described the same dimensional realms, the same types of learning experiences, and the same mechanisms by which souls traveled during sleep. He provided specific information about the timing of different types of soul travel, explaining that the deepest spiritual journeys typically occurred during the later hours of sleep when the physical body was most completely at rest. He described how various factors, including physical health, emotional state, and spiritual development, influenced the nature and extent of an individual's nocturnal adventures. Modern sleep research has begun to provide fascinating correlations with Cayce's descriptions of soul activity during different sleep stages. The rapid eye movement periods that scientists associate with dreaming correspond remarkably well with Cayce's descriptions of when souls are most actively engaged in dimensional travel. The brainwave patterns observed during deep sleep stages align with his explanations of when the soul consciousness becomes most completely separated from physical awareness. Recent studies of lucid dreaming, where people become conscious within their dreams and can direct their dream experiences, support Cayce's teachings about the possibility of conscious participation in sleep adventures. Researchers investigating out-of-body experiences during sleep have documented cases that mirror Cayce's descriptions of soul travel to distant locations and other dimensional realms. Scientific investigation of shared dreaming, where multiple people report similar dream experiences, parallels his explanations of how souls meet and interact in spiritual dimensions during sleep. Dr. Patricia Norris, a contemporary researcher studying the therapeutic applications of dream work, has documented thousands of cases where people received healing information, creative inspiration, and problem-solving insights during sleep experiences that match Cayce's descriptions of educational visits to higher dimensional planes. Her research supports his assertion that sleep serves as a gateway to expanded consciousness rather than simply a period of mental inactivity. Neuroscientist Dr. Eben Alexander's documented near-death experience, during which he claims to have visited educational realms very similar to those described in Cayce's sleep readings, provides additional validation for the concept of consciousness existing independently of brain function. His descriptions of learning centers and wise teaching entities in non-physical dimensions closely parallel Cayce's detailed explanations of where souls travel during sleep. The growing field of consciousness research has begun to question fundamental assumptions about the relationship between brain activity and conscious awareness. Studies suggesting that consciousness might exist independently of neural activity support Cayce's core teaching that the soul can function separately from the physical body during sleep. Research into quantum entanglement and non-local consciousness provides scientific frameworks for understanding how souls might communicate and travel across vast distances during nocturnal adventures. But beyond all scientific validation, the most compelling evidence for Cayce's sleep teachings comes from the direct experiences of millions of people who recognize the truth of his insights in their own nocturnal adventures. Anyone who has awakened with sudden solutions to persistent problems, creative inspirations that seem to come from beyond personal knowledge, or profound dreams that felt more real than waking life, has likely experienced the educational dimensions that Cayce described in such detail. People who have felt the presence of departed loved ones during dreams, received guidance that proved accurate in waking life, or experienced prophetic dreams that later manifested in physical reality have participated in the communication and service activities that Cayce identified as central purposes of soul travel during sleep. Those who have awakened feeling inexplicably exhausted, despite adequate rest, may have been engaged in the intensive spiritual service work that he described as one of the soul's primary nocturnal activities. The profound implications of Cayce's sleep teachings extend far beyond individual spiritual development. If souls truly engage in service work during sleep, helping other souls through transitions and learning experiences, then every human being participates nightly in a vast cosmic support system that transcends the apparent separation of physical existence. The compassion, wisdom, and healing that souls share during nocturnal adventures in spiritual dimensions influences the spiritual evolution of all consciousness. This means that the kindness someone shows during waking hours is amplified by the service their soul performs during sleep. The learning and growth that occurs during physical life is enhanced by the advanced education the soul receives during visits to higher dimensional institutions. The healing that takes place during sleep involves not just physical restoration, but spiritual renewal that occurs through interaction with healing entities in non-physical realms. Every night, as consciousness withdraws from physical awareness and enters the expanded reality of spiritual dimensions, human souls participate in activities that serve the highest good of universal consciousness evolution. The businessman who thinks he's simply sleeping through the night may be teaching newly arrived souls how to navigate the spiritual realms. The grandmother who dismisses her dreams as random mental activity may be providing comfort to children who have passed into spirit before their parents. The student who considers sleep a waste of time may be receiving advanced instruction that will inspire breakthrough discoveries in years to come. Understanding the soul's nocturnal activities transforms the entire experience of sleep from passive unconsciousness into conscious spiritual adventure. Instead of simply enduring the necessary inconvenience of rest, people can approach bedtime as an opportunity to participate more fully in cosmic service and education. Setting positive intentions before sleep, expressing gratitude for nocturnal learning opportunities, and paying attention to dream messages can enhance the quality and impact of the soul's nighttime journeys. Prayer and meditation before sleep can serve as preparation for spiritual travel, helping to ensure that the soul's adventures align with its highest purpose and greatest service. Keeping a dream journal can improve the conscious mind's ability to retain and understand memories of nocturnal experiences. Most importantly, approaching sleep with reverence and anticipation rather than mere biological necessity acknowledges the profound spiritual significance of these nightly adventures in expanded consciousness. The comfort that Cayce's teachings provide to those who struggle with sleep difficulties extends far beyond simple relaxation techniques. Understanding that insomnia, nightmares, or restless sleep might reflect the soul's intense engagement in spiritual service or healing work transforms these challenges from medical problems into opportunities for deeper spiritual understanding. Someone who awakens frequently during the night might be engaged in particularly intensive service work that requires regular returns to physical consciousness. Disturbing dreams might represent the soul's participation in healing traumatic experiences for other souls in spiritual dimensions. This perspective doesn't diminish the importance of addressing sleep problems through appropriate medical and therapeutic interventions, but it adds a spiritual dimension that can provide meaning and purpose to difficult nighttime experiences. Instead of feeling victimized by sleep disturbances, people can recognize themselves as active participants in cosmic healing and service, activities that extend far beyond personal concerns. For those who rarely remember their dreams or feel disconnected from their nighttime experiences, Cayce's teachings offer reassurance that spiritual activity continues, regardless of conscious memory. The soul's service and learning during sleep don't depend on the conscious mind's ability to retain memories of these experiences. Even those who claim never to dream are participating fully in the nocturnal adventures of consciousness, contributing to cosmic healing and education through their soul's activities in spiritual dimensions. The revolutionary nature of Cayce's sleep teachings becomes even more apparent when compared to conventional understanding of rest and unconsciousness. Traditional approaches treat sleep as a necessary biological function during which consciousness essentially ceases to exist. Dreams are typically explained as random neural activity or psychological processing of daily experiences. The idea that souls actively travel to other dimensions and engage in meaningful service work during sleep challenges fundamental assumptions about the nature of human existence. Yet the consistency, detail, and practical applicability of Cayce's sleep insights, documented across thousands of readings over more than 40 years, suggest a level of accuracy that transcends simple imagination or wishful thinking. The correlation between his descriptions and emerging scientific research into consciousness and sleep adds credibility to teachings that once seemed purely mystical. Perhaps most significantly, Cayce's revelations about sleep consciousness provide a bridge between scientific and spiritual understanding of human potential. His teachings suggest that the boundaries between physical and spiritual reality are far more permeable than commonly believed, and that ordinary people regularly participate in extraordinary adventures beyond the limitations of material existence. As research into consciousness, quantum physics, and the nature of reality continues to expand human understanding, Edgar Cayce's detailed insights about what souls actually do during sleep may prove to be one of his most prophetic and transformative contributions to human knowledge. His teachings offer not just comfort about the mysteries of sleep and dreams, but a complete paradigm shift toward understanding human beings as spiritual adventurers whose most important work may actually occur during the hours when the physical body rests. Tonight, as darkness falls and the physical world settles into apparent stillness, millions of souls will embark on journeys that span dimensions, engage in service that heals cosmic wounds, and participate in educational experiences that advance the evolution of consciousness itself. The adventure that awaits in sleep is not unconsciousness, but expanded awareness. The rest that comes with closing physical eyes is not inactivity, but the beginning of the soul's most dynamic and meaningful work. Understanding this transforms every night from a simple biological necessity into an opportunity for profound spiritual adventure, service, and growth that continues the eternal journey of consciousness toward ever greater love, wisdom, and unity with the divine source from which all souls emerge and to which all souls ultimately return. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.